Just before we get into the podcast, I'm going to ask you to do me a favour and hit subscribe. Why am I asking you to hit subscribe? Well, it's because more people like you will get to hear the content and they will then be able to build their coaching business just like you. It's nice to be nice, isn't it? Thanks for listening and subscribing. Hello, everybody. Today I have on the Crap to Kick-Ass Coaching Podcast, Yohan Bhairo. Hello, Johan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Rebecca. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. Splendid. Looking forward to this because we've known each other for a while.
Yeah,
Probably, what, about a year, I think, since you came in?
roughly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to put it in context for our audience. Johan joined our Zero BS School for Coaches just over a year ago, which is a program I deliver for really brand new coaches who maybe even haven't started coaching yet, who are maybe even thinking about coaching. And it's just a little step-by-step program over 6 weeks where we get together on Zoom and I give you some online courses and stuff. So you came to that. Tell me why you came to that, but really it's like why coaching? That's what I'm interested in knowing. Why coaching?
So, coaching because I went through a career transition, moving away from a psychotherapist.
Okay.
It was a bit of a forced transition
Right.
time, and I wanted to maintain doing something that I felt I was really good at, which
Right.
was helping people move through change. Um, so I moved into coaching. There was other things that were happening in between that as well, but I moved into coaching. Um, so I went on a course, did the coaching training. I thought this is great. I know how to coach. I thought I don't know how to set up a business. I don't know how to set up a coaching business. Um, and then that's when I met you
Yeah.
and joined the Zero BS coaching. Um, and I think it was a point in my life where I thought I needed some direction. I need the direction of how this is going to work, how I'm going to put this together. And I think that working with yourself, Rebecca, and I think just as importantly, the cohort we had was massively important.
Yeah.
Kept ourselves accountable, helped us move forward. And yeah, that's kind of how I ended up getting into coaching.
Good. It's amazing how many people find themselves in a position where they are, like you say, forced into making a decision. It could have been something that was in the back of people's mind for years, quite often.
Mhm.
But redundancy, change in circumstance, whatever it is, a move geographically, a partner moving, something like that. Often people go, oh, right, okay, well, now seems to be the appropriate time to put this into action because, quite frankly, I've run out of options. And I don't know about you, Johan, but certainly lots of other people's reaction is, I know I don't want to go back to doing what I was doing before for
Mhm.
whatever reason, burnout, stress, just weren't enjoying it anymore, whatever the reason. And so this little, I call it the itch that just won't go away. Like
Yeah.
there's something in this. So tell me about getting started and getting set up because a lot of our coaches are in that, or a lot of people listening to this will be in that position now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when I spoke about how I got into coaching before, it sounded like a smooth transition, and it was anything but.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of my focus now is on um, helping to manage change and transition.
Right.
Um, and I think it's important to me now because I've been right in the middle of it. So I've gone through a period where I guess my professional future felt uncertain, and that kind of uncertainty it doesn't really just stay neatly in a box.
No.
Um, it kind of affects how you fit, um, how you study yourself, how you see yourself, how you relate to the people around you, how you kind of generally move about in your
Mm,
day.
mm,
Um, I guess what really struck me was how quickly my sense of identity could wobble when the structures and the assumptions that I relied upon. weren't the same. And like you said, that itch had been happening for years. I was in a profession that parts of it I absolutely loved,
Mm,
and there were lots of parts that I didn't.
mm,
Um, and I wanted to move away from it for a long time. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Didn't know when I was going to do this or how I was going to do this. And it was the force. It was the fact that it changed in front of me
mm.
that made me think, what do I want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, there is a period of discombobulation for a lot of
Mhm.
people. And as you rightly say, if you're not doing the day job, you wake up and you go, right, I don't know who I am because the I identified with the day job. I have this label, whatever it is, and you have those very uh, predictable structures either in the business you're working for in the or in the sort of day job that you're doing. And when you go self-employed in any self-employed realm, it's like you then decide what structures you're going to put in. And you have to reinvent yourself, don't you?
You do, and I think the reinvention isn't something where you see what you want to be and
Mm,
you become that thing
mm,
or become that person or move into that profession. I think it's a lot more. The steps are a lot smaller,
yeah.
and I think along the way with those steps, there's changes that could be made that don't sit comfortably.
Mm,
Um, and I think that so the experience I had is that it wasn't just this internal shift I kind of spoke about. There were real practical consequences as well.
yeah,
There was a immediate and temporary change in my career. I went and did some building work as a labourer,
yeah,
like kind of stepping into work that was so different to what I'd been doing before. And in terms of like the practicalities, it meant moving out of our family house,
mm,
creating some financial stability. Um, I guess during this huge period of uncertainty, and moving in back in with my parents, which was very strange.
yeah,
Um, so I guess making decisions that felt really emotionally heavy. Like
yeah.
we moved away from familiar friendships and routines, and I guess there's loss and grief that comes with that. And I think if it doesn't get acknowledged, it can keep people really stuck. And I'm not going to say it didn't keep me stuck for any period of time. It did.
Mm,
Um, I think one of the hardest practicalities was the changes for my daughter.
right,
I'm changing my career, but this huge change in my career had a huge impact on my daughter. She had to change school.
right,
So, moving away from her friendship group that she started, and well, I guess holding her experience alongside what I was experiencing and my wife was experiencing, I guess really sharpened this sense of responsibility and perspective and what's important to me.
right, right. What I'm really interested to know what you've decided is important to you.
A lot more of a balance between, it sounds a bit of a cliche, a lot more of a balance between my work and my life.
Hmm,
Um, and in this way, I start to find more joy in the work I'm doing and get to experience more of the joy that I was missing in my life before.
right.
So, spending more time with my daughter, like she's in primary school, so there's the odd things where they might say, oh, that we're doing this craft thing during the day at 2:30, and never before would I have been able to do that because I've been confined by the structures of my work. Um, Now I define the structure. I
Right.
define the structure of my work, so I can say, I can look at my diary, see if there's anything booked there. Is it something we can move? Then I
Hmm.
can go. I don't need to go and beg to my manager, like, can I have this time off to go and see my daughter? Do this
Yeah.
thing that's doesn't seem very important, but it's hugely important to her. And because it's important to her, it's important to me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. As you describe in that, Johan, my image, because I'm quite a visual person, is of you going from caterpillar into your little chrysalis, which is that transition, that change that sounds very emotionally draining, financially draining, physically draining, probably as well. Um, and then coming out, and what I see now is the butterfly. You look different from a year ago when I first saw you. You look happier, you look more relaxed, you look more at ease in yourself. And we've never met face to face. This is just over Zoom. That transition, not to be underestimated at all. As you're going through it, I'm sure there were some days where you just didn't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah, it's hard. Uh, but there's light at the other side. Um, and I don't know, how's it going in getting established? Talk to me a little bit about that.
So um, it's not easy.
Oh,
It's not easy. It does take persistence.
does.
Like the continuing to make myself visible so I can be remembered,
Yeah,
or noticed, or a conversation I might have had with someone on LinkedIn 3 months ago comes to fruition three
yeah,
months later after continuing to not just post for the post for posting's sake, but posting meaningful content, stuff that matters to me.
yeah,
And if it's mattering to me, it's going to matter to the people that I want to work with.
yeah.
Um, so I think there's persistence, but I think that alongside the persistence is, I think there's a sense of now feeling that I have some control.
Good.
Um, but that took the process of being in the chrysalis, being in that part where there was a huge transition for the for the caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yeah,
That is uncomfortable. It's painful. There's really fun moments. There's really painful moments. Um, but in terms of becoming established, I think initially it was the persistence of doing things that didn't seem like they were doing anything,
yeah,
um, and having the patience to see it come to fruition.
yeah,
Um, and look, I'm not going to say my coaching business is absolutely flourishing and I'm fully booked, because I'm not. But it's building.
yeah.
I've had coaching clients. From those, I'm getting more clients, um, and I'm working with people that I want to work with.
Good.
I think is the
That's
main thing.
so important, isn't it? It's so, so important because you get so much more joy and fulfillment out of doing that
Mm.
than being, pushed into a square box to do this type of work at the beck and call of other people, like you say, who are managing your time and your diary. And most of the stress I see, because a lot of coaches come to us who have come out of very stressful roles or situations for various reasons. And a lot of that stress is caused by not being in control. Um, and yeah, we call it the messy middle.
Yeah,
There's a messy middle where there's a lot of sorting out and going, no, I don't want to do that, but I do want to do that. And oh, that's not going to pay, but I love doing it. So let me work out how that's going to pay. And finding, like you say, those people who relate to you and relate to what you've gone through. Because that experience, my God, that's gold dust for coaching, isn't it?
yeah, and I think I'm still a believer that you don't have to have experienced what the person you're coaching. You don't have to experience what they are experiencing. But I do think in terms of coaching, it can really help with that um connection, but also allowing yourself to see the space between yourself and the client as well.
Yeah,
Um, and what you said about control, I think that was one of the biggest kind of internal shifts for me. Was I guess learning to accept that there were outcomes, timelines, decisions that just weren't within my influence.
mm,
Um, and figuring out what was in my control and how I showed up each day, my work ethic, my values, how I treated people, how I was present with my family, and I guess also hugely important during this was how kindly I treated myself during this whole thing.
yeah,
Um, and with that part, that the messy middle and the steps during that messy middle. when there's such a huge transition, I think that that's where the focus needs to be is what is the next step? What is the
Mm.
next step I'm taking during this messy transition where I don't know what the outcome is? What can I do right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can only take one step at a time.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's what led me into like the building work. It wasn't
Right.
something I dreamt of doing or wanted to do, but it taught me some stuff.
Right.
Um, it was honest. It was physical work. You turn up, you graft, you get the result at the end of the day. But it kind of taught me a bit of humility.
Yeah.
There's it I was successful in my career before, and I was going into something where I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was learning as I was going along. Um, and you're not special on the building site.
No.
You're part of a team. You earn your place, and you show up and you do your work.
Yeah. It is. I think that I often think the best coaches are the most humble people, because the client is the most important person in that moment, for me anyway, in the coaching relationship in the space. And learning humility. My youngest daughter, it works at McDonald's part-time. She's at college and she had to clear up sick last weekend. I went, not nice, but very grounding.
Yep,
And that will teach you humility, and
yep,
that will teach you to appreciate the people who do that all day, every day. Um, when you're doing whatever you do in your professional life later in her career, and you'll always remember that. These grounding experiences are really important, I think. Yeah, definitely. So tell me about the people that you support as a coach, Johan.
so the people that I'm seeing in and coach now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it's coming through people that are dealing with uncertainty. It might not be a huge um, transition in their life, but it might be a transition that's very significant to them.
Okay.
Um, some bigger, like facing redundancy or like burnout, or there might be a role change,
Yeah. Yeah.
or just a life transition that they didn't really choose.
Mm,
Um, that impacts all parts of their life. Um, I kind of find that initially what clients want, and I can relate to this, is just wanting the certainty, wanting the answers, wanting the reassurance, wanting a plan. This is where I'm at. This is where I want to get to. These are the steps I'm taking. Done. All
yeah.
I need to do now is do the steps.
Yeah.
Um, and I think actually what we often work on first is helping people to kind of tolerate not knowing,
Yeah.
um, like stabilize in enough just to think clearly again.
Yeah.
And then when
Yeah.
there's that mess, when you're in, I really like the phrase of the messy middle. When you're in the messy middle, you can't see much, you can't do much. The caterpillar is cocooned; it can't
Mm,
move much, but it can move a bit.
mm.
So it's thinking about what are the small movements we make when we can't move much.
Yeah. Yeah. And they are small movements. Yeah, they
Mhm.
are, because in that, and by the way, I took that from somebody else, so feel free to use it. Always pass on the good stuff. In that messy middle, it's never wise to make major decisions anyway, because
Mhm.
you're not emotionally, financially, physically stable enough often to be able to do big stuff.
Yeah.
And the little stuff is big enough at that stage. Yeah. Um, yeah, and like you say, be kind to yourself. So how have you been kind to yourself, Johan? I'm interested to hear about that.
Firstly, initially it was listening to my wife, um,
Right.
because I would put a lot of pressure on myself of um so I would work in the building trade as a labourer. I'd try to pick up extra work within that trade to make as much money as I possibly could because it was still significantly less than what I was earning before.
Yeah.
And my wife would say, "Can you slow down and just stop for a moment? Like you're doing the best you can with what you've got.
Yeah.
Um, and if you do all of this, you're just going to burn out, and it's going to be worse than it was before."
She's a wise woman.
He's very wise. So I think that was the first part of being kind to myself, of listening to some advice from somebody
Right.
that loved me.
Right.
So I think that was huge. Then I think I had more spare time because I wasn't doing admin and reports or seeing clients in the evening. So I had more spare time. So I did some stuff that I enjoyed. Um, well, I spent more time with my daughter. I read a book that I actually wanted to read rather than a book that's for work. Um, I I did the cliche stuff. I went for walks.
Nice.
I met up with friends. I did stuff that wouldn't cost me the earth because I didn't have the money, but I still deserved some enjoyment in my life just because things had fallen apart and I did need to work hard to get it back on track. I
Yeah.
still needed to enjoy my life as well.
Yeah. I think more so,
Yeah,
don't you? You
absolutely.
know, to not repeat the mistakes of the past and you know, putting words in your mouth here, Johan, so correct me if I'm wrong, but possibly appreciating those walks more than you did before, the
Yeah.
coffee with friends more than you did before.
Mhm.
Um, because I think when you go through that kind of change, that kind of transition, um, your eyes, your ears, your senses are opened up in a way that makes everything more, I don't know, somehow more meaningful, more intense, more real. I don't know what it is, but you see things differently, don't you?
Yeah, and I think that happens on multiple sides as well. Your senses open up and you get to explore and feel and experience things more fully than you normally would.
Yeah.
That happens on the intense, really difficult part of it where
Yeah.
everything's uncertain, and on the part where you do the stuff you enjoy. If you allow yourself to do that. If you get
Yeah.
fully immersed in the more painful, difficult parts, and that's where all your senses go, and you don't bring any of your senses into the enjoyment stuff, then you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But there were times that I'd go on a walk or I'd take my daughter to the playground and my head would be in the uncertainty, in the lack of control. And
Okay.
within that lack of control and lack of certainty, I didn't enjoy it. There were times like that, but and then more and more times, the times became more prominent where I could be in the park with my daughter, watch her play, climb up on the climbing frame with her, um, act a kid and enjoy it. And I think that took work, that took effort, and it took actually listening to people and asking people for help.
Yeah. Yeah. People find it so hard, don't they, to ask for help?
Yeah,
They really do. No man or woman is an island. We absolutely need help in whatever we're doing, in whatever aspect of our life that we're in. And I want to go back to a little bit. I love going back to a not knowing state.
yeah,
And your example of the building site is really good, and also not knowing um, where you're heading immediately, not having necessarily a huge, great big plan that's all mapped out neatly and tidily. There's something you're right that we as a society aren't very good at hanging out in the unknown,
mhm.
and yet it's quite liberating
It can be if you allow it to be. So I
if
think
you allow it to be. Yeah,
the uncertainty used to kind of during this whole transition scared me,
yeah,
um, and but now. And I guess also going back to developing my coaching practice, there's loads of uncertainty with it. Like, I think I have my niche sorted, and then I tweak it.
of course.
Um, I my website isn't completely ready, but it's up.
Yeah,
Um, there's things I need to update my LinkedIn. I will.
yeah,
There's things I'm not sure about still in terms of how I'm developing my practice, but I've got it going. And I think that's one of the, I guess one of the tips I'd give to coaches starting up is get going.
Yeah.
Um, don't hold out for it all to be as it should.
No, because it never will.
No,
I'm just about to rewrite our website again. I do it probably twice a year.
yeah, and I think as it should changes.
Yeah, yeah. And I tweak my LinkedIn probably 2 or 3 times a year. And yeah, it's an iterative process. And an example that's just popped into my head, the Coca-Cola logo has not remained the same from day one. And
Yeah,
why should it? And why should we stand still? And yeah, what you've got out there now represents where you're at now.
yeah,
That will change. So great, good.
yeah.
That's how it should be. Definitely. So now you're more settled, which is great.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable with this self-employed lark and all its joys. Wait till you do your first tax return. My advice is to get an accountant to do your personal tax
Well,
return.
I did my first one, screwed it up to start
Yeah,
off with, and then it said I owed thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds.
right.
Then I just realised I hadn't done something, and I only owed like I owed significantly less.
You,
Yeah,
I just pay somebody to do that because I
yeah,
would get it wrong every time. So yeah, that's fine. I figure out my time is better spent finding new clients than trying to do my tax return. Um, and yeah, what does the future hold now you've got a little bit of clarity around that?
So now my practice is actually blended. So like part of my work is psychological therapy, and part of
Brilliant,
it is coaching. So
brilliant,
I'm still doing therapy now,
great,
and I'm I'm doing it in a way where I have more control over
good,
um my referrals.
good,
I'm not tied down to what I'm given. I I,
good.
I can choose. Um, and realistically, part of that is that it's easier for me to get therapy clients to start off with.
Yeah, of course.
So that helps me to create the time and the space to build the coaching, which is happening. So I guess for me, within the next year, my I want my business to continue to be blended, but the therapy side starting to reduce and the coaching side increasing.
Brilliant,
So probably like a 70-30 split is what I'm hoping for.
brilliant.
Who knows? In 6 months' time, I might say I want the opposite way. I don't know, but right now, that's where I'm at.
Listen, it changes. Some years I do tons more NLP, other years I don't do any.
Mhm.
Some years I do loads of one-to-one exec years. Some years I hardly do any. It fluctuates
Yeah.
massively. At the moment, I've got a run on, launching purpose, vision, and values for the clients and doing their strategies well, with them, alongside them, and implementing those. But for a few years, I did nothing but 21st century leadership. It
Mhm.
just fluctuates, and what I like that because you
Yeah.
can never get bored.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think it's like having it's like working in an organization, having a job change every like year or two,
Yeah.
which is kind of recommended anyway.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is definitely. Right. Where can people find you, Johan?
So find me on LinkedIn,
Okay,
and find me at ybcoaching.co.uk.
that's easy. We'll put the links in the blurb. And this is a question that I ask everybody at the end of the podcast. Now, this is an interesting one, considering the mill that you've been through and come out the other end. If you knew you had only 12 months left on this planet, would you do anything differently over the next 12 months?
I still think I could afford more time with my daughter.
Okay,
So I do spend more time with her than I used to, but I still think I could spend more.
right, great. How old is she?
She's 6, and she's a proper little madam.
6 is such a cool age.
Yeah, they're
It's
fun. The stuff they say is just brilliant.
it is. Yeah, it really is. Six is a magical age, definitely. They're good fun. You can do more, you can go to more places. Yeah, and you have proper chats, can't you, with 6 year
Yeah.
olds? Yeah.
Well, that's one more thing I add in as well. A bit more travel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Where would you go?
I don't know. I just like picking somewhere and then exploring when I'm there. I don't really know. So I've just
Uh,
been to Budapest and going to
oh,
Luxembourg next week. This week.
great.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to Luxembourg.
Oh, wow. Well, you are traveling already.
Yeah.
When I ask people this question, they're often doing quite a few bits of it already. And it's really nice to see people realize, oh, I'm already doing a fair bit of that, which is really nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. Good. Amazing. Thank you, Johan, so much for your time today. This has been a long time in coming.
It has been. Thank you, Rebecca.
Pleasure. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We hope you got true value out of it. And if you did, what would be lovely is if you could leave us a 5-star rating. Why 5-star? Well, that helps the algorithm. And as we all know, the algorithms rule the world. So if you've enjoyed it and you've got value out of it, give us a 5-star rating so other people can enjoy it too. Thanks. See you next time.